What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, the Milwaukee Bucks defeated the Los Angeles Lakers at Milwaukee. I think the final score was 109 to 102, I believe. Um, the Bucks improved to 7-8 on what has been a disappointing injury-plagued season. The Lakers dropped to 8-8, which has been an even more disappointing injury-plagued season. Um, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I started profiling heavily on my channel maybe 4 or 5 years ago, has proven to be the most dominant player in the NBA and continues. He severely outplayed AD. The same guy who so many people came on my channel a couple of years ago and told me he's the most skilled power forward slash big man ever. Nobody could shoot the ball like him. And he's this, that, and the other. And he's just tremendous. Giannis, all he can do is just run up and down the court and dunk. All he does is dunk. He's not skilled and all of this. And I'd be like, well, for a guy who supposedly is not skilled, he sure scores a lot of points because he scored more points than AD. He got more rebounds than AD. He was more impactful than AD this season so far. Even though it's been disappointing for Milwaukee, Giannis is averaging more points. He's averaging more rebounds. He's averaging, I believe, more assists than AD. But yet, AD is the one that's supposedly this most, uberly skilled big man. And he is skilled, but that's why I always say, and other people, skill is important, but it's not the only important attribute for a player. Kobe Bryant was more skilled than Michael Jordan, but he wasn't better than Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? To me, this is a minority opinion. In his prime, Tim Duncan was more skilled than Karl Malone. But if I need a guy to get a bucket, this might be a minority opinion. I like Karl Malone. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. But because of the resume, you have to put Tim Duncan ahead of Karl Malone. But as a guy that just like put you on your put a team on his back offensively, I go with Karl Malone. But anyway, Giannis once again dominated AD, but it was only because of that dominance that the Bucks won this damn game. Even though the Bucks won the championship, I still think that they won the title in spite of Mike Budenholzer. Mike Budenholzer is a very frustrating coach to watch, coach, and some of these players really aggravate me that play with the Bucks. Now, Chris Middleton, I have to give him a pass. He had missed I think something like 8 games in a row due to protocol for testing positive for you know what. So, I give him a pass. Drew Holiday, what the fuck was he doing? What? I mean, look, the stats don't even do justice to how badly he played, in my opinion. 3 for 13 from the floor. I think something like 1 of 6 or 1 of 7 from three. 5 turnovers. Um, but some of those turnovers were just stupid. Uh, Dribbling into double and triple teams, forcing stuff, forcing shots. Um, on a couple of his attempts, there's no way he could have got a good look at the basket. It's like he's forcing stuff sometimes. And Drew Holiday has a habit of doing it. You know what I'm saying? He sometimes, I think what goes on with him, Chris Middleton does it sometimes. And that is they're trying to play to get their numbers. It's a nationally televised game, I don't know, family members, watching whatever. They're trying to put on a good show, but it's not always going to be like that. But sometimes they do this. This is what they do to irritate me. And Chris Middleton is famous for this. Chris Middleton can start a game off hot, 6 or 7 from the floor, right? Just hot. And you're thinking, man, Chris can go off for 40. But then the rest of the game, he ain't forcing it. He might go the rest of the game. He might, he'll finish shooting something like 9 of 15 or something, right? 25 points. Right? Well, why did he stop? Because he got his numbers. But then when he's shooting bad, then he want to take 25, 30 shots. 6 for 27, 7 for 28. What type of ass backwards shit is that? Because he's playing for his numbers. Drew Holiday, I think, does that sometimes, man. At least sometimes he gives me that impression. But this is another thing that bothers me about Drew Holiday. Sometimes I'll be watching the game sometimes, man. I'll be texting 70 and be like, does Drew Holiday need glasses? And I'm being honest about this. I think I said this through the playoffs. He got the worst fucking layup package in the world, man. I've never seen a guy miss so many point blank shots in my life. He misses so many layups. And it's not because of the new ball. He was doing this shit last year. Then, I get that the Lakers made adjustments, being more physical, doubling Giannis and whatnot in the second half. But there were still times when Giannis, because AD didn't want no parts of him, but there were still times when Giannis was, being guarded it was mismatches. One time it was fucking Russell Westbrook on him. Russell Westbrook. Other times it might be, maybe somebody like Carmelo Anthony. At that point, man, give him the fucking ball. Yeah, Giannis had 47. In my opinion, he should have had at least 55 points in this game. He should have had 55, possibly 60 points in this game. But the Bucks got to win. It is what it is. Let's see. With the Lakers, I didn't think Russ played that bad. I thought he had a pretty good game. Um, he missed some. I mean, look, I was rooting for the Bucks, so he missed. He took some shots he should have took, I guess, in the fourth quarter. Uh, you know, but I don't. I do feel like Russ is more. Uh, the last couple games, he's been more subdued, trying to be more of a point guard type player, but Russ just doesn't have that that point guard like vision, man, that eye, like that instinct, Um, this is why I say he's not a good fit for this team. Now, what the only thing people can hope for is that he slowly becomes more acclimated to playing with those guys, and he makes better decisions. But Russell Westbrook is Russell Westbrook. He's the all-time leader in turnovers per game in history. He's the only player in the history of the NBA to average more than 4 turnovers a game. And it's just part of his game you have to accept. That's not going to change. He's eventually going to become the all-time leader in turnovers. That's going to be part of his, that's why sometimes I equate him with Brett Favre. Brett Favre was an exciting player to watch, but, you had to take the good with the bad with him. Um, so it is what it is with Russ, man. AD supposed to be the leader of this team. Carmelo and Russ just getting there. They're especially especially Carmelo. He's past his prime. Russ is starting, on the downside of his career as well. This is supposed to be AD's team when LeBron is not there. He's the longest tenured player there as far as stars concerned. He might be the longest tenured player after LeBron, if I'm not mistaken. I have to think about it. He's the star, supposedly. It was on AD to step up to the challenge, and he didn't do it. So a lot of this loss is on AD. But man, Frank Vogel, and shout out to Ticket TV for doing the video talking about this. He talked about it. Some of my subs messaged me and told me, Laker fans, he needs to go. Frank Vogel, man, he's just a horrible coach, man. Terrible rotations. Uh, the one thing Frank Vogel was noted for was being a defensive coach, and they're not doing that. Now, they did it better. There was more of an effort yesterday overall. Uh, but even that started breaking down in the latter parts of the game. To me, man, the Lakers, this just isn't working. It's not working. This experiment is not working. But it also has a lot to do with the coaching. Um, Frank Vogel, who to me looks like a grown-up version of Toy Man from Batman. Um, he, he he's just not a good coach to me, man. And I think to a lot of people, he's not a good coach. And some of the stratagems that be going on with him, like I don't understand. Like you can have a guy going offensively, right? But maybe because you wanna, you have this system in place where people play so many minutes, you'll take this guy out and bring back this cold shooting ass motherfucker back in the game, you know, or you have periods of time when both Rondo and Westbrook are on the court, which makes no fucking sense. I don't get what the fuck he's doing. I don't understand it. And I think if LeBron supposed to come back tomorrow, right? If the Lakers lose like 2 or 3 more games, especially after LeBron comes back, I think Frank Vogel might be fired, man. Frank Vogel might be fired, and for the long, as far as long term, I don't know, man. I get this feeling that this shit continues, where they're playing sub 500 or 500 basketball, something's gonna be done. Something's gonna be done. Trades are gonna be made. You know, it is what it is. But last night, that was on AD. You could see how soft he is now. And the first thing he did when the Lakers got into trouble was grab his thigh and complain about an injury. Man, this dude, man, is a joke, man. And people really thought this guy was a top 10 all time. Someone seriously asked me last year, was AD a top 10 all time player? Was he a top 5 all time big man? Get this motherfucker the fuck out of here, man.